Wonder Woman is a new movie directed by Patty Jenkins and the stars Gal Gadot, Connie Nelson, and Chris Pine. And it is the fourth film in the DCEU. This movie is all about the beginning of Wonder Woman, how she came to be. She was a princess of Themyscira, and then Chris Pine's character, who's played Steve Trevor, he crash lands on Paradise Island, and he warns the Amazons about this threat. That is World War I. And just by watching this film, and I had to go in with an open mind because of track records. DCEU films hasn't really panned out as iconic great films. You know, BVS has lots of problems, but yet the extended cut fixes it. Man of Steel was criticized for having too much violence. Suicide Squad was kind of a sloppy film when it comes to scene structure and editing. But with Wonder Woman is something different. Wonder Woman is something that I have not even experienced before. And I have to say that Wonder Woman is...
I got a happy monkey butt, and this is what it does for fun.
Pure orgasm. This movie, I had a blast with this movie. This movie was something I have never, ever in my life seen before, and that was a successful superhero female movie. And I just gotta say that Gal Gadot shined in the role. Gal Gadot was the best thing about this movie, and that's one of my concerns. You know, Gal Gadot, she's now starting to turn her career around, and this was a big step to stardom. Like, Gal Gadot was awesome. Wonder Woman's character, she was a little naive at first. You know, she's kind of like the fish out of water living out of the jungle. Her mother, Hippolyta, who was played by Connie Nelson, was pretty much telling her stories throughout her childhood about humans, about man race, mankind. You know, we men are savages, we men are beasts. She was giving her the hardcore stuff. And then she meets this one man who is quite different, who's played by Chris Pine. He plays Steve Trevor, and they both gain chemistry with one another. Therefore, she starts learning from him and learning more about the world. She's really naive and optimistic. I had to talk about Chris Pine's character. Chris Pine's character, he plays Steve Trevor. Chris Pine did a definitely good job. He really brought energy. He really brought that little charisma, funny guy to it. But not too funny, but he had some serious tones. So I think Chris Pine did a great job bringing Steve Trevor to life. And overall, this movie does have humor, and it also has the dark elements, and I think they balanced it very well. The action sequences was by far one of the most sexiest action sequences I've seen since 300, because they used a lot of slow-mo that was into this film, you know, where she's trying to do a spinning kickball, slow-mo, then she goes fast again, then slow-mo, and I kind of felt like Patty Jenkins' directional style when it revolves around the action sequences was quite similar to Zack Snyder's. It's not really a bad thing, but I think that was a very good job, and it really worked, and it worked very well with this movie. I just had to talk about Ares. Ares is the main villain in this movie. Now, I do not want to go into his character as much, because all I gotta say is Ares was badass. Now the flaws with this film. What are the flaws? Okay, the flaws with this film, I gotta say, there is one particular scene that revolves around Chris Pine and Wonder Woman, which I kind of felt like they didn't need to put that there. Also, these two characters named General Theo. I'm gonna call him General Theo. It was General Theo and Dr. Poison. Those two characters I felt like they could have been developed better. They weren't really developed at all. They was just kind of thrown in there. I didn't really feel the characters as much as I wanted to, because they gave both of these characters a hinted backstory, which they didn't develop fully. So now I'm just questioning. There is this item that they use that kind of reminds me of another item that's in the DC universe, but they didn't really explain what it was. I'll explain more in my spoiler. There is moments in this movie CGI heavy, but it's Wonder Woman. Now, Wonder Woman is a goddess type figure, so you know the CGI is kind of necessary. So the CGI was noticeable, but they did do a good job with the CGI. But I'm just trying to say that CGI was noticeable, but it's not a bad thing. That was more of a nitpick. And the last thing I had a problem with, like the final battle, had too much talking and too much monologue. But overall, this movie was fantastic. I had a blast with this film. It's one of the best films of the summer. The best female superhero of all time. I wouldn't now. This movie was hyped. I mean, critics said this was the best film since The Dark Knight. But overall, I had a blast with this film. This is a great film. This is a magnificent film. I will go back to the theater and see it again and again, about 5 more times. I'm going to see it like 5 more times. I have to give Wonder Woman a Ben Affleck Batman. Batman-tastic. Alright guys, that's my review for Wonder Woman. What are your thoughts on Wonder Woman? Give me all your thoughts. And also, I will have a spoiler review coming to you Sunday or Monday. So stay tuned for my spoiler, and also I will have a review for Uncharted #1. Also, I want to give out a couple of shout outs. I want to shout out to the official DC group, and those members are really good to me. Also, there's another group I'm also supporting, is a DCEU appreciation group. Love talking about movies and superhero content and all that nature. And it's just a brotherhood for those two groups. Please follow the DC official group and also follow the DCEU appreciation group. If you like everything you see and you agree, click right here, join me in the Batman family. I have more Batman-tastic reviews on the way. You have been warned. Till then,